most likely would, because you can file any time. You're not limited to April 1st. You don't have to go in a visa lottery.
Okay.
So, for example, if you were going to, let's say it's April 2nd or April 15th and the visa quota is closed, you could file with the university and beat it by a year waiting time. And you would beat the lottery risk.
Okay.
Right.
So, like, what you're saying is I can file at any time, but would I get it? Like, would higher education institutions hire internationals? That's a question.
Oh, Lord, yes. Oh, would they? Absolutely. You can check with USF, and they might have the statistics on how many foreign nationals. Yes, they hire people all the time. And USF's not the only potential employer. I'm not sure. I think there's over 100 higher institutions just in Florida between the community colleges, private colleges, and public universities. That's just in Florida. Of course, immigration is nationwide. So, and by the way, if you're looking for a job with a university, it's easier. It might be tough to get a job with USF because it's a very desirable place to work and be. You might try Sumter Community College or Pasco Community College. It's a little more difficult for them to recruit people. So if you just get outside the metropolitan areas, you can still be within commute distance. But think about, don't leave out those community colleges that are perhaps smaller, or smaller private institutions that are located in smaller cities. Those are real good targets. Next question, yes?
Do you guys have any law that when company help me to get permanent residency, do I have to hire like company by myself with my money, or company has to do it?
The question is, if I'm going through the permanent visa process through alien labor certification, do I have to use the company's lawyer, or do I have a right to hire my own attorney? Legally, you can always hire your own attorney. Pragmatically, sometimes employers say, no, you're using our attorney because for quality assurance. In other words, they say, but many small employers, and that's where you're likely to get hired, say, well, who do you suggest? So you always have a right to an attorney, but some companies are going to make you use their attorney because they already have a relationship and the trust factor's high.
Do I have to pay that fee for myself, or?
You're not allowed to pay the labor certification fees or costs or anything else. It's going to violate the Department of Labor.
But I know some people, they pay by themselves.
Well, they're not allowed to pay themselves for any of the labor certification stage. You can pay for, once you are applying for your own visa, you can pay for that part. You can't pay for the Department of Labor. When we're going through the first stage, you're not allowed to pay any of that. The employer has to carry all that. That's by statute, not choice. Other questions? Yes, sir.
You said that when you apply for H-1B visa after OPT, we should be in status. Could you please shed some more light on in status, like when I will be out of status, or what should I be taking care to remain in status?
Okay. The question is, when am I in status to file for OPT? And the answer is really 90 days before graduation or 60 days after. When that's not your graduation ceremony, that's when the course is completed on your transcript. Right? Who knows when the graduation ceremony? Just want to clarify that. Upon completion of studies, you're in status for 60 days. After those 60 days, you don't have any status to ask for OPT or anything, except for checking Delta for flights home. Very nice. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, how about working, doing grad school while working part-time on a
It depends on your visa status. The question is, what about working while I'm in grad school or even undergraduate? What about working? The regulations allow you to work 20 hours on campus while you're on an F1 visa. A lot of times that means you're going to wipe the trays in the cafeteria. But if you're in graduate school, you can work 20 hours as a research assistant. There's a lot more opportunities in graduate school. The other way that some people do it is they'll go ahead and get an H-1B visa, which you can do part-time. H-1B visas allow part-time work. and then they'll go to school while they're on H-1B. You can turn it around and go that way. But if you're in F1 status, you're limited to 20 hours on-campus employment. But you might be able to get a good opportunity once you graduate. Any more questions? Yes?
Are we allowed to work 40 hours? Is your break, like, is your break somewhere?
No,
No?
no. 20 hours on campus. Right. And only through approved employment. One thing I suggest, while you're in student status, when you're out, always, who's your best friend? Who's your best friend when you're on F1 status? The foreign student advisor. So always check with them. Check with them about your ideas, what you're going to do. Always ask first. Ask first. Have a relationship. Make sure that foreign student, I know they have a great staff here that does a great job. And like I said, it's very seldom that we have to untangle anything from this university. They service a huge number of students. So I know they're doing a great job here. So make that foreign student advisor your best friend. With that, I'm out of time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, and it's a pleasure of having a chance to be with my colleagues and dear friends on the government. I wish you good luck, persevere, never give up, follow your dreams. Thank you very much.